Hey everyone, Scott with Air Gunner Reviews. So this is going to be an interesting segment on this. I am going to be comparing two completely different type of AEA Defenders in a matchup. First is going to be my AEA Defender. This is the 35 caliber, and we are going to be using 68 grain FX hybrids in this. These are the little guys right here. 68 grains are actually 4.4 grams according to my scale. And we are using the small air cylinders and only 2-inch barrels. They go in as such like this. They are filled up with 4,500 PSI. And that is ready to go. Now these are the smaller of the two types of air cylinders. This is the larger one. As you can see the comparison. So I am using the smaller one as this is a very compact. I'm using the same in my less lethal version, which is 68 caliber. And in this, these have their own integrated barrels in here. And we are shooting the HP 68s from Grimberg, and these just pop in just like that, one in each barrel, and our air cylinders go in just like that. These are 7.75 grams, so it's not apples to apples, but that's what we wanted to test. I wanted to see what the penetration is. I also want to see how many joules that are firing. So we're going to do some good tests on this. First, we're going to establish what type of joules each one has with the prospective ammo. Then we want to do a penetration test. So we're going to be using a pan like this. I'm putting a heavy winter jacket over it. It's actually one of my old winter jackets, and that's how we're going to test it to see possibly if there's penetration with using the slug, where you wouldn't have with a 68 HP 68. So we're going to test all that. So stay tuned, and we're going to get right to it. So before we go out, I'm going to just tap off the air on these using this double filler block like this. Makes it much easier than doing single. I can do both at one time. It takes about 3 minutes, and you don't have to fire them off. You just want to top them off, make sure that they're filled. They do lose pressure over a period of time. I know these are good for at least a week, but they don't have any meters or anything on them, so you want to make sure that you're recharging them often to keep them up to pressure. And in case of a self-defense, you definitely want to make sure that you don't have any issues with these. I know these have been very reliable because they've been tested and retested. I know I can go probably 3 to 4 weeks with them this way, but always tap them off once a week. All right, so the first one we're going to test is my less lethal version. Actually, when I remeasured the Grimberg HP 68, they're more like 7.75, so that's what I'm going to go with. I'm only going to do it in joules, not in feet per second, which is this is capable of. And by the way, I'm going to leave a link to this down there. I should have already changed that. I'm going to leave a link for this because this is only like $50 on Amazon. If you got Amazon Prime, you know, you're looking at free shipping. So that's, you can't beat that. So I'm going to turn this on, and then I'm going to change it over, and it says joules, and then I'm going to go up to 8, and then I'm going to work it back down to 7. Oh, I'm sorry, it's supposed to be 775. Well, 7.75. I guess it doesn't do 7.75. I guess I can only do 7.7. Okay, let me work it back down. Okay, so the best I can do is 7.7 on that. Lock it in, which is close enough. Should be 7.75, but this doesn't calculate it that. I think that's close enough. One thing about this is you have to have hearing protection on and eye protection. Both of them, because this thing is loud. Okay, we're ready. Let's see what kind of numbers we have. $28 joules. Second shot. 28.4 joules. Okay, so that's pretty powerful right there. I gotta shut it off and turn it back on. And basically it's gonna be 4.4 on here. Whoop. There we go. Whoop. 4.4. Lock it in, and let's see what we have. Once again, gotta put eye protection on. And this thing is so loud. I mean, these things, nothing compared to CO2. If you think CO2 is loud, this thing's amazing. All right, here we go. $21.8. Shot number 2. Whoa, 23.2. And guess what, guys? I just hit that a little bit. A big difference in power. 28 joules with the Grimberg. Less lethal, both of them were 28 joules, and the first one was 21 joules, second one was 23 joules. So that's what we're talking about. Now we're going to see what the penetration is. So let me show you what we've got going on here. We've got this is a very heavy jacket. This is a Bosch. This is actually a heated jacket that I've worn to death. But as you can tell, it's got a heavy liner to it. So this is a very thick jacket, a little pocket, and this is what we're going to be, I'm going to be zipping this up. We're going to be taking 2 shots approximately 6 feet away. 35 caliber, standing about 8 feet away, but my hands, of course, could be much closer. Let's see if it penetrates through the jacket, see what kind of damage comes up with it. Here we go. All right, let's see. Okay, my shots were a little low. Let me take this off here. But it did penetrate through the jacket. I'm going to turn this around so you guys can see. This is shot 1 right here. And shot 2 hit right here. Unfortunately, I was aiming, I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to hit this, so I was definitely aiming low, but I was aiming too low, and that's why we came up with the shot there and the shot here. But let's take a look at the jacket. Okay, so there's the first one right here. You can see where it hit. And let's see, inside here, because it hit right on that double piece, so that did not go through. all the way. So there must be a pellet in here someplace. Let's take a look at the second one. Okay, so there's the second one right there. Oh, and there's the exit right there. So it did come all the way through. I wonder if I can find the pellet here, the slug. All right, I don't see the slug in here. Be interesting to find it. So definitely some damage there. I wish I had hit a little higher, but you can definitely see it did do a pretty good bang up right there. And then the second one hit right here, but that's right where I have the a piece of pine board. You can see where it's screwed in right there, so it did. All right, here comes the less lethal version. I did take a towel and wrapped around the 2x4 there, just so, or 2x8, just so in case I hit it, it doesn't want to bounce back at me. And let's see what kind of damage we do with this. I did take a magic marker and marked off the first 2 shots that we did, and so we know which is which. Let's see what happens here. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Okay. Here is the damage. That was the very first, one of the 2 shots with the 35 caliber. You see the impression there. And then there's the other one, hit low, right where I have it marked, right there. And these are the other 2. And they hit pretty hard, especially this one. This one really hit hard. It looks like it turned sideways, the way that bump is, because there's one right there, and then there's the second one. Even through this heavy jacket, that would really hurt. I would have to give it to this one, though. This is the 35 caliber. So far, that really puts a big ding in. But we're going to shoot it again, and let's see what kind of, see if we can get up here a little higher. I'm going to mark these so we know this one right here, and this one right here. So let's shoot the 35 caliber again, just for kicks. All right, 35 caliber, let's see what happens. Well, interesting enough, I might have shot too high. I think that hit the towel. It's still in a good shape here. Oh no. I'm going to flip the camera around in a second here. But there are a couple of extra. Okay, let me flip the camera around so you guys can see what I'm seeing. Let's see here. There is the first one right there. I believe that's the first one. It did not go through, and it left a little ding right here. It's more concentrated. And then there's the second one right here. And it looks like it hit right here. But that's right through this thick pocket. Through here. and it does not look like it penetrated. So let's take a look. So that is the less lethal. That's the HP68 right there. There's the other HP68. That is the 35 caliber. And there is, and you can almost see the impression of it. It kind of hit this way. And there's the other one. I would definitely have to say, of course, this one does look pretty nasty. But I would have to say the less lethal had more of an impact than the Defender with the 35 caliber. So I believe this test was very interesting. It wasn't quite what I expected. I really kind of expected that the AEA Defender, the 35 caliber, to outshine, even though it is less joules, just for the fact that it were using lead and the possibility of that lead going through the jacket, which it did, but it's not quite the way I expected it. So you can see the one shot there, that's a 35 caliber, and it actually makes an impression right here. So you can tell it kind of turned sideways as it was hitting, and that's where that ended up. This one also kind of looked like it would sit right inside the pan like that, but that did cause quite a bit of damage. That is, and this was the one I believe that went through the actual jacket, and that's what caused that. So it must have stayed straight enough. And then the other two 35 caliber were right here, and you can definitely tell that fits in just like there, and that went sideways. And if you look at that indentation, you can kind of tell that it was sideways there. So it was much less effective, probably due to the shorter barrel on it. It had time, even at only 6 feet, to turn sideways. So a longer barrel certainly would have had a better outcome for this. But then when you look at with the damage of the HP68s, it is quite amazing, to be honest with you, because you can really see the indentations, and you can even make out the form. You can even tell that it's upside down here with the HP68. So good heavy damage there, even through the winter jacket. But then again, the joules were definitely more powerful, and the reason why that is because Cody from Pneumatic Fanatic had made this for me, and these really are in nice and tight. When you put those, and they're really matched to the HB68s. And let's see if I can get one out. Yep, let's see here. When they're in there, they really seal. There we go. So they really seal up in here. He did a great job with this. And so there's very little resistance when you are firing these, and that is why you get such a better joules than the 38. I'm sorry, the 35 caliber. There's a little bit more friction in here. And I think because the barrel is so small, and there's probably air going around a little bit, even though these do fit fairly well, I would probably want to retest this using a 81 grain JSB, maybe a better fit for that. Anyhow, interesting. Now these are, now this, of course, this is my S2 version, but I want to show you the difference between these, because it is an amazing difference when you look at size-wise, if you're not quite sure of what things look like. These you fit right into your pocket. That's why I wanted them. Also, they are using these air cartridges, which are less weather controlled. In other words, you have the colder climate, they don't feel it as much. I can store these right into my van when I'm to work, and then when I get out, if I want to carry them, I can. So there's a lot of advantages to these. There's also disadvantages also, because they can leak, etc. But this little guy fits right in my pocket. I don't even have to have a holster for it. And this one also, but it is a little longer. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this little segment, and hey, you guys take care. Have a good evening. Thank you for watching, and that's it.